Hello, welcome ladies and gentlemen to the Insurtech Show, where we explore the fascinating world of insurance technology. Today's episode is all about parametric insurance, an innovative form of insurance that's changing the game for policyholders. From streamlined payout processes to customer-orientated policies, parametric insurance is leading the way when it comes to industry transformation. Joining us today are three expert guests who will be sharing their insights and experiences with us. We have Dan Andrews, Insurance Director at Vitesse PSP, and they're a leading provider of payment solutions. We also have Stefano Bison, Group Head of Business Development and Innovation at one of the largest insurance organizations in the world, Generali. And finally, we have Adam Rimmer, the founder of FloodFlash, a pioneering company that provides rapid payouts to customers whose homes have been flooded. So, without further ado, let's set the scene and find out about the exciting world of parametric insurance, some of the biggest changes within.
Really, the problems that parametric insurance is best suited to solving, which are really around these kind of low frequency, high severity risks, like catastrophic floods, earthquakes, hurricanes, wildfire, this type of thing, are getting worse every year, and that is driven by urbanization, that is driven by population growth, and driven by climate change.
Yeah.
If you took, particularly the population of the US, for example, if you tried to disperse the population in areas more exposed to natural catastrophe, you'd be hard pressed to do so. It's like the earthquakes on the west coast or hurricanes on the east coast. We're also seeing insurers step further and further back. Traditional insurers step further and further back, and the industry needs to find a way to step up to fill that. And then on the sort of supply side, whilst this idea of parametric insurance has existed in forms for a while, there are certain technologies that now mean we're in the position to be able to bring it to the mass market for the first time, and that is awesome. Things like computer power, for example, if you're modeling the outcome of a flood or a storm surge event, that is a difficult and computationally intensive task. Computers are now at a scale where we can reasonably do that at a fine enough grid and a fine enough resolution to be able to put probabilities on water depths, on ground shaking in an earthquake, on a building by building basis for the first time. That means we can do customized individual parametric insurance for the first time. The second thing we need to do, as well as set the prices for this insurance, is also to monitor the parameters that will ultimately trigger the payouts that we'll talk about shortly. Other technology increases are allowing us to do that efficiently again for the first time, and that's particularly things like our Internet of Things technology, low cost, low power radio wave setups that allow us to, for the first time, monitor these natural hazard parameters at a low enough cost to make this work for the mass market and ultimately help more people recover from catastrophe.
I think over the last couple of years, certainly we've seen a huge demand for parametric insurance. We've seen some of the big players in the Lloyd's market specifically provide far more capacity to some of these parametric MGAs that are first entries into the market. So we've seen the likes of FloodFlash, Yukahu, Ready Cover, K2, and many, many more. So we're seeing more of it as a business. It's incredibly important that trajectory continues, because in my mind it's the only truly consumer-focused insurance product on the market. Parametric insurance is all about settling as quickly as possible to the policyholder post-event, right? And so they need to make sure that they have a payment provider, whether it be a bank or a PSP such as ourselves or otherwise, that can really deliver seamless and straight-through processing, real-time payments to the policyholder. And the reason that's critical is that these are emotional times, emotional experiences for the policyholders. So it's critical that we get cash to them as quickly as possible so they can get back up and running, whether it's to get their business back up and running or to repair any damages to residential or commercial properties.
Innovation in payments and payouts, that seems to be what I'm hearing as a key battleground to win these customers and provide that value add. How are you seeing changes to payments, whether they be proactive to help people pay for flood protection warning, for instance, before the flood hits, Or if a flood happens, you can pay out almost immediately. How is that payment battle changing insurance?
So the payment ecosystem, first of all, it's pretty commoditized already.
Right.
So in terms of payment platform, payment instruments, I think there's so many options.
Yeah.
That it's a matter of willingness to do something different. It's not a matter of being enabled. And all our partners and the big payment providers or card or acceptance systems, etc., they are so digitalized already that it's pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
What we are trying to do in terms of payout is, of course, and give it once again, that's the moment of truth. No, it's when you want to make sure the customer gets paid quickly as possible. We're working a lot. Then it's different, for B2B, B2B2C, or traditional agency distributed models. It's like every case is really different, so it's difficult to give you a single answer, but what we're trying to work in general is to shorten the time of payout as much as possible, sometimes making it parametric. So we're working, for example, with the car insurance. We have a strategic alliance with them. They're relatively integrated in all the parametric products we do, also for agriculture, for example, back to your example on floods.
Yeah.
With our, it's our unit called Global Corporate and Commercial. It's commercial and specialty lines. And what we're trying to do there is exactly this. So let's make sure that it happened, that there's an oracle saying it happened, bang, you get the reimbursement. This can also happen in embedded insurance, back to the topic before.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of data, you broke the phone, can be certified quickly, and you can get paid out pretty quick, have the money, so then you go and you choose where to repair it pretty quick. This can, as I said, technologically and from a payment infrastructure point of view, can be almost immediate. So
amazing.
The business model is now possible.
Yeah.
Not many are doing it, but it's possible.
Now I want to discuss the payout, because that's one part which is typically an element of friction, and a lot of people are reticent to buy insurance because of this element. So to you, how do you see the payout process changing in the future, and why is it going to be a major KPI for a lot of businesses, a lot of insurances, in the future?
There's a great stat from FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency in the US, that says that 90% of small businesses that don't reopen their doors within a week of a catastrophe will close their doors permanently within a year.
Oh my goodness.
It is astonishing. And that tells you the importance of cash flow. Just as you said earlier, a lot of these businesses are operating on fine margins. They need to be paying their staff. It is becoming an increasingly competitive commercial landscape out there for these businesses.
Yeah.
They need cash fast to be able to operate. And importantly, the speed of cash is more important to their survival than getting the perfect pound-for-pound indemnification. And in many ways, that's the trade-off with parametric insurance. You may not have perfect pound-for-pound indemnification, like life insurance. Parametric insurance, like FloodFlash, is a preset payout, so the customer can decide the amount that works best for them, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure. And it gives them speed instead, and the speed is the valuable thing. And as long as that payout is about the right amount to get them up and running, and that's typically what a resilient small business owner wants. They don't want months of waiting. They just want to get going, get their business back up and running. And not just small businesses, it should be said. One of these great features of parametric insurance, at the same principle, can be used from smallest businesses, small corner shops, right the way up to nuclear power plants.
So on the Insurtech Show, I love getting real use cases. And could you maybe tell some of our viewers some real use cases of where Vitesse PSP has enabled insurers to go on and help their end customer at the end of the chain?
Yeah, sure. So if we look at parametric as a concept, it's around providing certainty that the policyholder is the claim's going to be paid out, or that the policy is going to pay out, should I say. And post-event, so there's a predefined metric. So post-event, that will trigger a payment mechanism. So we support our clients with straight-through processing, as already touched upon. Typically, that's via API integration with their infrastructure, with their own systems. Some of the real-life scenarios here, so if we look at FloodFlash as a business, for example, an incredibly innovative business, parametric business. They will install a unit on the outside of a commercial property. In the event of a flood, they will know the depth of that water and they will settle. So some of the examples, commercial property up in the north of the country, post-flood, we were able to send a payment on behalf of FloodFlash to that policyholder within 4 hours. Wow. That's incredibly powerful. So if we look at commercial property, if your business isn't able to trade for X amount of time, that's incredibly damaging, not just to the business, but also the individual. That's their livelihood. And so it's an incredibly powerful message for us to say, well, we can deliver payment within 4 hours post-event on that day to get them back up and running. But not just that, flooding is just one type of event, right? So also wind events, so hurricanes in the Caribbean, for example. We work with Yukahu, again, incredibly innovative business. They'll insure residential properties out in the Caribbean, and if a hurricane hits a country, might tear off the roof, they use a set of data to be able to determine the damage and settle. Again, we can leverage our network in the Caribbean to settle those payments as quickly as possible.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, going back to my earlier point, these are people that are going through some of the most stressful times ever in their life, and to know that they've got a partner that can help them surely means that this becomes a real KPI for a lot of insurers.
Absolutely. It's incredibly reassuring to a policyholder, as already mentioned, incredibly emotional time. Can you imagine your house being blown off and you've got nowhere to go? You might be put up in a sports hall somewhere, you might be in a hostel, and if we can provide that comfort, alongside our clients, we're going to deliver cash to you, and we're going to support you in getting your property repaired as quickly as possible, put the roof back on your house. It's an incredibly powerful message.
I think embedded insurance is an exciting space. It's also something that we need to be slightly cautious of.
Yeah.
Right? Insurance, I'm a great believer that insurance should only be used when necessary and when needed. For example, I think buying insurance for, cracking your mobile phone screen, if actually you could afford to replace your mobile phone screen, is not a great use of your resource.
Yeah.
We need to use insurance for the things that we will struggle to recover from, and so for people in high-risk areas, that is floods. The thing to be careful with embedded insurance is that if the insurance is coming automatically with the product, are you really selling that product to people who genuinely need it? So, for example, I don't think it would be the right thing to do for, embed FloodFlash in every single home in the UK, because I don't want to be charging people who live on the top of a hill for cover that they don't need.
Yeah.
That does not advance our mission of helping more people recover from catastrophe. Where the idea of combining FloodFlash with other products becomes really exciting is embedding it with other insurers, because the product is so complementary. We talked earlier about how insurers withdrawing flood cover in high-risk areas, adding large flood deductibles in high-risk areas is really the cause of this problem, and is causing so much flood loss to be uninsured every year. More than 80% of the world's flood losses every year go completely untouched by insurance.
That's absurd almost.
It is absurd, and there is, that really comes from people in high-risk areas. Really excitingly, we've now launched a partnership with Aviva, the largest general insurer in the UK. Aviva have risks that they want to write, but are reluctant to do so, specifically because of the flood risk. We want to write the flood risk for those areas, and so it's a perfectly complementary product. So Aviva now have FloodFlash on their broker marketplace. So when they are quoting policies with flood deductibles or with flood exclusions for business they otherwise want to write, the broker is then encouraged to fit FloodFlash in alongside that Aviva product. That is the future of this, for that perfect complementarity between the Parametric product and the traditional indemnity product that surrounds it.
Parametric is leading the way when it comes to innovation. It's leading the way when it comes to true consumer-focused products. It's leading the way when it comes to, the optimal customer experience. If the rest of the insurance market don't change, it will get left behind.
That's all we've got time for in today's episode of the Insurtech Show. I want to say a massive thank you to our guests, Dan, Stefano, and Adam. It's been such a pleasure hearing your insights. Also, a big thank you to you, our viewers. You can catch the rest of the series and so much more over at ffnews.com and of course YouTube, but especially LinkedIn, where you'll see me in the comments. Thank you very much and goodbye.